I'm Stacy Grinsfelder.
I'm Daniel Cantor.
And you're listening to True Tales from Old Houses, the Minisode. Hey, Daniel.
Hey, Stacy. How's your Metamucil challenge coming along?
My Metamucil challenge?
I just thought it would be really funny to open the show that way.
How did you know I need more fiber?
A friend of mine opened her email on January 1st and had somehow gotten signed up for some mailing list for, fiber. And then she was like, maybe I do want to take the Metamucil challenge. So I've been hearing a lot about Metamucil this month.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. Of all the things I thought you might say to me, that did not top the list. So
I wanted to keep you on your toes.
Yes, thank you for keeping things real around here. I am stuck in Salt Lake City right now. I don't know if you know that. But
Oh, stuck.
Well, yeah, I'm stuck. So we've had terrible, terrible weather in New York. Actually, by the time this episode drops, this will all be resolved. But it looks like I am staring down at my second delay. I was supposed to be home 3 days ago. And so this 4-day trip is probably going to turn into about 8 or 9 by the time it's all said and done. I'm using a borrowed mic. Fortunately, Andy works in a hotel where they have tons of audiovisual equipment, and he brought a mic back to the apartment for me with a little preamp. I mean, it could be worse, right? I could be, I don't know, shouting at my laptop and using the laptop mic. So as things go, here I am.
I mean, you sound great from this end, but I'm sorry that's happening.
I mean, it's not great, but before I tell you more, I do want to say a very hearty thank you to our Minisode sponsor, Sutherland Wells.
Yes, thank you, friends.
So what happened is, before I packed for this trip, I was working really hard on that upstairs painting project in the hall outside of the main bathroom. I think we touched on that before. And I had a deadline to meet because I'm painting for a brand. And I was trying to get it all painted so that when I left, I could just come back, take photos, do what I was responsible for doing for this brand, and then call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent about 3 12-hour days painting, prepping, all that stuff. Actually, more days prepping, 3 days just painting because I'm changing the color pretty significantly. So it took some doing. Because I was so engaged with that painting, I didn't really pack. So I packed my bag in maybe, 20 minutes. Like, we were supposed to be in the car on the way to the airport, and I'm still throwing stuff into my bag. So I'm thinking to myself, well, it'll be a nice surprise to see what I brought. Turns out I did forget several things, nothing of key importance, but because this trip turned from 3 days into, like I said, about 8 to 10 days, I'm wearing the same clothes an awful lot.
Well, gosh, you're stuck with somebody you like, I think, right?
Yes. I was getting to the silver lining here, which is that, I'm in an apartment. I'm not stuck in an airport trying to find a good place to sleep. I'm here with Andy, who I love very much. My daughter's here. Millie is well taken care of at home by my son. It's all going to be fine. It's just that I was not really expecting this. And although I am pretty much a go with the flow kind of person, especially when it comes to travel, I'm a little anxious to be home right now.
Yeah. Oh, well, you'll get there eventually. I'm sorry.
Eventually. It's part of the adventure.
At least you're missing the shoveling that is involved with the reason you're stuck there. Yeah, we've been getting some snow here, but not shut down the city style.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. 2 back-to-back storms, which is rare. Typically, we have plenty of snow, but not enough to shut down things. So this is kind of a weird storm. But here we are. Anyway, not important. Not important.
Exciting.
You're like exciting. I'm like, not important.
I don't know. You're stuck in a place you didn't expect. Who knows where this could lead? Can I, before I forget, I'm coming back to the record with my tail between my legs because I made a boo-boo, Stacy.
What did you do?
Here's what happened. I owe an apology because when I swooped in all impressive with my information on Rochester wood carpets that a couple episodes ago, I failed to credit where most of that information came to me from, which was that I had asked Brad. Brad then immediately passed the ball to his friend Christopher Brandt, who's an architect in Rochester, who is a preservationist and all around great guy, and basically said, Chris, what do you know about this? And Chris sent some detailed information, and then I think I said Brad sent it, and it was only partially true. So Chris, I apologize. You deserve all the credit. And I'm going to try to redeem myself by going one better and say that Chris is actually hosting a class in Rochester on February 19th and February 26th. It's a two-parter, week apart, at the Rochester Brainery, which sounds like a real cool place. The title of the course is Researching Rochester, How to Uncover Your House's History. So Chris has spent 15 years or so working on his very sweet house in Rochester and found like every possible thing he could about it. And he's very smart and very good at this. So if you're interested in taking that class, I hope he will at some point do it as a virtual class so people outside the Rochester area can attend. But that's happening. Chris can be found at Rockitect, like Rochester Architect, ROCITECT on Instagram. And Chris, thank you for the fabulous information on Rochester wood carpets.
I know Chris, and I am starting to think that there's nothing he doesn't know about old houses. He is a wealth of information.
He's very smart and very crazy.
And very, very thorough. I think you meant to say very thorough.
Right. Thorough. Gosh. Do you like how I end my apology with like sort of a dig?
Yeah.
I never learned manners.
I think we call that an open-faced compliment sandwich. If you've ever heard the phrase compliment sandwich, where you tell somebody something nice, then you get to the criticism, and then you tell them, oh, this is a reverse. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I messed that whole thing up. But
well,
anyway.
Are there carbs involved? Because those sandwiches I like.
Could I add something too?
Yeah. Yes, please.
I just want to add that sometimes Chris doesn't always talk about what he's doing through his personal Instagram account, but the Rochester Brainery has an account, Rock, R-O-C, Rock Brainery. That's their Instagram handle, and they almost always announce their classes there. So if you're interested in that one, be sure and follow Rock Brainery.
Yeah, and thank you for the information, Chris. The thing I should have said the first time.
What else is going on there?
Oh, boy. Well, I'm back in my like painting purgatory at the cottage, but the only way out is through on that one. So the duplex apartment is basically just waiting on a tenant. I don't think I found quite the right fit yet, but we live in hope, so that's good. I don't like this part of it. Yeah. So many people just like don't show up, so Brad gave me a good piece of advice, I think, which was to, rather than start scheduling a bunch of showings, if you don't have a broker, you don't live in a place where people normally do have brokers, which they don't here, do an open house and get as many people in the door then, because after that you're going to be making individual showings, and it turns out 2/3 of those people will ghost you. So I don't understand it.
And time is money, right?
Well, yeah. And also just like, I don't know. Don't make me like drop everything at 6:30 on a Sunday night and then just not come.
Right. That sounds frustrating.
That's rude. That's poor form. This is an etiquette podcast now.
You said you didn't learn manners, but I see that you did.
I mean, that one. Don't leave people, standing around waiting for you, especially when you've asked them to go out of their way.
Agree.
That's happening. And then I guess I might have like a second apology corner, but I don't think he listens. So the boiler appears to be resolved over at the cottage. I was not there when the fix took place, but all I know that took place is that another new thermostat went in, and now it seems fine.
Interesting.
I could have been a little wrong and dramatic about how it absolutely had nothing to do with the thermostat.
Well, all signs pointed to you being correct, but the good news is it's working. So let's just move forward from there.
It's pretty great too. Yeah, like I've worked so many winters in that house now without adequate heat. So like just having a somewhat temperate environment is truly like a huge improvement. It also just helps like, the Abatron cures faster and, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. That is.
Yeah, it feels like real house. We got half a toilet installed, so that was good.
I'm assuming it's the bottom half of the toilet.
It's the bottom half, yeah.
Okay.
And then I didn't buy the right slip nuts or whatever. And so waiting on some parts to come. But speaking of the Metamucil challenge, I'm sorry. Uh,
No, I
rude.
like it. It's not. It's not rude. It's funny. It's very, very funny. True Tales from Old Houses minisodes are supported by Sutherland Wells. All of Sutherland Wells products are handcrafted in Providence, Rhode Island, with the highest quality, sustainably grown tung oil. Tung oil, native to China, has been used for centuries as a durable finish for wood, metal, and stone.
And unlike polyurethane, tung oil finish actually penetrates the surface of the wood, so it flexes and contracts as conditions change. This makes it the perfect pre-finish or protectant for everything from fine furniture to window sash and sills.
Now I use Clarabells mixed with my oil primer for my window restoration work now. I've used Millie's to refinish a dresser, no relation. I've used Slicky Wicky, and then most recently the Murdoch's line to restore the wainscoting in my main bathroom, and I am so happy. Every single thing I've tried, I love it.
It looks great. You just posted about it on your blog, so you can go read more about Stacy's experience at the Blake Hill House blog.
Whatever you're working on, Sutherland Wells has an entire product line. So if your project is siding, hardwood floors, furniture restoration, cutting boards, you name it, they've got something that will work well for you.
To learn more about the complete product line, visit Sutherland Wells. That's WELLES, SutherlandWells.com. And to save 10% on your first order, use the coupon code TrueTales. So, is part of your antsiness to get home because you still have your Christmas decor up and desperately need to have it taken down immediately because it's, I don't know, past mid-January? Like, I don't know the rules for this stuff.
Well, funny that you mentioned that. I'm usually one of those people that takes it down, I don't know, within a few days, certainly before the new year. And it is still up because I was out of town through the holidays. I asked my son and daughter to take down the Christmas tree before we left, and they did that. But our stockings are still hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon will be there next year, apparently.
Mine are still up, and I have no intention of taking them down any time in the foreseeable future.
I do leave my candles in the windows all the way through spring because I just like the
Okay.
extra light. And honestly, my outside Christmas lights are still on a timer, and I'm sure they're still going on and off every day. Normally, I would at least unplug those or turn the timer off, but I don't know. For some reason this year, maybe it's because I wasn't home during the holidays. I was gone so long. I just have really appreciated the extra sparkle and light during this dark winter.
Yeah, I think twinkle lights and things are evergreen. I did all the Christmas decorating with Bradley, and it was the first time I've really ever decorated like a house for Christmas. I feel like I just made it through that without, like, I don't know, really causing any crises. And now I'm like, I am just underqualified to deal with removing any of the, like, I don't know the proper way to store these things. I just don't know. And so yeah, I basically told Brad, like, unless you're here, like, this stuff's staying up all summer. I don't care, because I also enjoy it. The novelty like really hasn't worn off, and it's been up for like 2 months.
Well, I do have a small piece of advice for you, and that is to store it away in bins versus boxes because you don't want mice and insects and stuff in your decor. But other than that, I don't believe there are any particular rules. You know, it's not like putting the flag away or something or retire. It's not like retiring the flag or anything.
We don't have to have a Viking funeral for the Christmas tree.
No.
Mine's plastic. It would just melt, I guess. But so okay, like big plastic totes kind of thing.
Yeah, I would. I would. And
Okay.
I don't wrap any of my ornaments individually or anything. I just lay them gently in a bin.
Hmm.
That's it. But yeah, and
Okay.
that's really it. I just don't want mice in my stuff. They'll eat through the wires of your lights. They'll do their business all over your stuff, and it's just gross.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. Brad, the one tip he gave me that I'm like, great, do it, is to to get like a big, like I guess what, 32-gallon like trash bin, just the big ones for your wreaths. Just stack up your
Oh,
wreaths in there. And he's
interesting.
so clever. He's so smart.
He is so clever. Yeah. Now that you said that, I do have one more little piece of advice, which is just to loop the strings of lights loosely rather than
Oh,
tightly because it's really hard to get them unwound again. And
right.
sometimes if you have to struggle with them, then the little bulbs pull out and then the whole thing is kaput.
Yeah. I feel like I know people who just buy new lights every year because they're like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that, which is, I don't
That is
support.
wasteful.
I think
Yes.
that's not okay, but it does seem difficult to manage. I don't know.
It's not so bad.
I'm very overwhelmed.
Last year, I asked my son to take the lights off the house, which he did, and then he just wadded them up into a ball. And he wasn't even angry. He just didn't think about what it would be like this year when I pulled them out of the
Yeah,
bin.
boys, boy stuff.
I didn't throw them away. I unwound them. Took a lot of time, but they're back up on the house. I mean, I just bought them last year, so I had no intention of replacing them again.
I can't remember if I shared this fun factoid with you, but I learned recently that icicle lights, like, that look like icicles, those only were invented in the 90s.
Oh, that is a fun fact.
Like, I am older than icicle lights. In my head, I'm like, tale as old as time.
Right. Who knew?
And there's a whole big, like patent or copyright issue with it. Like the company who originally produced them, was small and sold out quickly. And then a bigger company just kind of stole the design. It's almost interesting enough to talk about on a podcast.
I had no idea.
I was fascinated.
Also, it is, almost the end of January, and we're still talking about Christmas decor.
It's never been more relevant, Christmas in January.
Yes, yes. Well, I do like this delight that you feel about decorating for Christmas for the first time. That brings me joy.
It's like a real push because it also fills me with like anxiety and dread that I am going to have to deconstruct all of this. I'm just amazed that people sort of in the, 10 months between taking it down and putting it all back up develop the motivation to do it all over again. Like, I'm not sure.
Give it a few more holidays. It'll start to feel like something that you want to do. Maybe.
It's quite a production, but I do like living with it. It's fun. What else is going on? I started making bread.
Wait a minute. You're making bread?
Yeah. I don't know what got into me. We've kind of touched on this, but like when COVID kind of hit and like everything shut down, I feel like everyone went into the kind of weird hibernation, watching everything on TV, making sourdough, all of that. Like, I had the opposite experience. I signed a contract with a major brand like that week that I was convinced was going to get canceled. I immediately had to start doing this like pretty intense project at a extremely difficult time to be doing that kind of project anyway. But so I missed all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, like it snowed a bunch and I didn't want to go work at the cottage because it was cozy and snowy and I just wanted to. So I just made bread. I made a nice Dutch oven loaf.
I'm impressed.
You shouldn't be. It's literally flour, salt, yeast, and water.
My house isn't warm enough to bake bread. Like every single time I've tried to ferment something or bake something with yeast that needs to rise, it just does not happen in my house. It's too cold. I've tried the trick where you stick it in the oven and the oven's not on. I've tried a bunch of different things. In the summer, it's great because then it's blazing hot. Everything ferments or rises, but not in the winter.
Huh. I always stick it on the radiator.
Oh, smart. I don't have radiators.
Oh, that's right. I knew that. I did try another something new.
Oh, tell me.
I don't know why, but last week I woke up in the morning and all of a sudden I was just like, you know what I really want to try today is a deprivation chamber, like those floats where you go in and it's all dark and there's no sound.
Wait, what? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Really? Okay. It's kind of like a med spa-y thing, I think, normally. So it's basically a chamber that has about 10 inches of like extremely salty water, like saltier than the Dead Sea. So you just float and there's no sound and there's no light and you just pay like, I don't know, $70 to like lay in this thing for an hour and just like tune out the world. And it's supposed to, recenter you and get like, it's never once been something I like really wanted to do. And then all of a sudden I was like, let's try it. So I went on. There's a place right near me that this is like what they do. And I booked myself a 60-minute sesh.
What did you think?
I don't think I liked it, to be honest.
It sounds terrifying to me.
I don't think it's terrifying. And they say actually, like, even people that are prone to claustrophobia, like, don't tend to have an issue with it because there's a real sense of like expansiveness. Like you're not super aware of like the bounds of the space because you can't see anything or really hear anything. They also say like, most people feel like it goes by in like 20 to 30 minutes, but really, it's a full hour or 90 minutes is what they like kind of recommend, which I was like, who has the time? I do not feel like it went by in 20 minutes. I was like, I'm feeling this hour.
I'm going to have to look this up. This is not familiar to me whatsoever.
Really?
No.
You lived in California for like 15 years and this never came up? It feels very California.
It does feel very California, but it was all yoga and palm reading there, so not any deprivation chambers.
Yeah. I feel like it's the kind of thing you do when you like, quote, like, just want to get back in my body. And it's like, what does that even mean? But that feels very West Coast. Just trying to get back in my body. Give it a try. I mean, it wasn't unpleasant.
I think maybe I'll just stick with a facial.
Well, right. That was the thing. I was like, I spent like literally like $70 to like lay in some salt water for an hour. And it's like, if I'm going to spend that, I want someone working out some muscles or something,
Right. You want to feel like you've done something at the end of that, right?
Right. But I think it was kind of a good exercise. I don't know if you're like this. I realized a little while ago that I like basically just live in my headphones. And if I'm not living in my headphones, it's because I've like taken them out because the TV show I want to watch is starting. So like there's very little just like introspective silence in my life. And I don't know, I sort of started to feel a little concerned about that. So I'm trying to practice not constantly drowning out my,
feelings,
thoughts, obsessions, problems, complaints. Just get back in my brain.
Now that you've gotten back in your body, now it's time to get back in your brain.
Right. Anyway.
Well, I wish I had some old housey kind of updates for you, but all the things that I was going to do, that I was going to tell you about, haven't happened because here I am in Salt Lake City.
Right. I mean, enjoy it. You've been working a whole lot on that house.
There has been some pretty intense projects, intense time-consuming projects. And it is nice. Like I keep thinking, oh, I'm here. Why don't I just write every day? Or why don't I just balance my business books, which I haven't done since the first half of last year. But am I doing it? No, I am not.
Well, I feel like the biggest scam is anything that starts with, why don't I just?
True.
Followed by every day. Because how many 5 to 10 minute tasks should I just be doing like every day? Like, I don't know. I get very overwhelmed with stuff like that. So you'll be fine. You'll get to it. I also have to balance my books, as though I have any idea what that really even means. But categorize my transactions in QuickBooks is really what I mean.
That's pretty much, I guess, what I need to do, and maybe match up some receipts here and there. Yeah. I was pretty good about it in 2022, but not so good last year. I don't know why. I just sort of gave up at some point. But that was kind of my life last year. I just sort of gave up.
That seems unfair to last year's Stacy. Last year's Stacy did a lot of things.
Well, yeah. But this year I just think I just need to get back in my body.
Well, I have a deprivation chamber to recommend for you. What are we doing?
I don't know. So what's next? You're painting the cottage.
I'm just painting. I'm so tired of painting. Yeah, so today I have to sand, a lot of sanding. Then I have to do the second coat of primer. This is the process I've settled on. It's just a slog. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear about how tired I am of painting. So that's all. That's it. That's what's coming up. All right. So, I mean, we're winding down the season. We have one more full episode and one more minisode, I think, right? And then we're on break.
We are on break. Maybe we'll squeeze in another mini there while we're on break, but regular episodes will resume when we return.
Very cool.
Thank you for listening to True Tales from Old Houses, the Minisode. Until next time.
See you next week.